All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Easy Money Sports. I'm your host, Style, with your other host, Steak. We're going to go ahead and wrap this thing right into Week 11. Lots of sports, lots of NFL going on, and I don't know about you, but I had a great time this week watching these games. It was amazing. Most of the time you end up with the chump primetime game. We were lucky last night and fortunate enough to see the Broncos go ahead and pull out that win against Vikings, which is phenomenal game watching. Kind of want to go into a few key points before we get into the actual slate. Key things were Pittsburgh and Cleveland. You know, that was a really fun game. I know you and I both had Cleveland money line. I don't know if you saw, but you put it in on action about the same time I put it in.
Yeah, I took your bet. I actually had the under before Cleveland.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I on the last episode, I don't know if you remember, but I said neither team was going to score 14, so I fucking nailed that.
Yeah, that was.
But yeah, I saw you put in Cleveland, and I'm sitting at the bar, and I'm like, damn, dude, I like Cleveland, man. Like even with DTR starting, I like Cleveland. So thank you for giving me the extra push I needed.
That was a very good game. Obviously, it came down to Cleveland fashion at the end, winning by a field goal. They're kind of known for that, right? They've done that four other wins.
Steelers have been winning games late too this year, so
yeah, for sure. Yeah. They obviously both have extremely good defenses. They're known for
takeaways. It's nice to see Jaylen Warren. I think Jaylen Warren's better than Najee Harris.
Wow.
They named him the starter this week, and it's interesting to see these guys that outperform the guys ahead of them. I think we saw that with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott last year.
Yep.
And I just am excited. I think Jaylen Warren's really good, man. He's a tough dude. I'm not sure how good Najee Harris is. I'm not hating on him. You know, he can hurdle the fuck out of a dude, but overall, carry for carry, I just think Jaylen Warren's better. So I was excited to see the breakout run. I do have him on my fantasy team,
nice.
So not complaining. But yeah,
Very
nice. It was nice. That was my biggest takeaway. And the Browns are some tough motherfuckers.
Cleveland's going to put on the slate how we did this week. Steak, you went 7-1.
7-1 on action.
And I went 8-2. 8-2 is not on Action. So Action Network, go ahead and drop that to Adrian. Action Network is basically an app to track all of your bets. And once you are verified on the app, you can't change your bet. You can't change the lines. There's nothing you can do besides place your bets. And this enables people to see your actual ROI track record. I just started my verification this past week. I believe Steak is starting his.
Going live tonight.
And, tonight we have a great matchup as well.
Yep.
Eagles and the Chiefs, man. Obviously, we'll roll into that in a little bit. But as an Eagles fan, I don't like to bet on the Eagles.
Yeah.
It's fair. I think you're the same way in Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So let's go on to some of our bets.
Yeah.
We said last week, you and I both had an anonymous. I think this would have been our exclusive bet.
Yeah.
The Giants plus 8.5.
Yeah.
How easy was that bet? There was a no sweater.
Man, it was free.
I mean, we talked about Sam Howell getting sacked in the back and how much time they're going to spend back there. And honestly, both sides, you know what I mean? But Sam Howell especially, again, one of those things, exactly how you called it, exactly how you expected to see that play out is exactly what happened.
Yeah, it is for sure. And it was because we got to see these two teams play already. Yes, different quarterbacks, but I'm sorry, different quarterback for the Giants, not a different quarterback for the Commanders. But in that game, we saw the Giants have Sam Howell's number. He looked worse against them the first time they played than he's looked against anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't think that type of shit is a coincidence. Like, that's just my takeaway. Like, I see that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to play that again coming back around. And then especially when the Giants got their shit rocked by the Cowboys, I was like, they're going to be mad. If they have any pride, like we said last week, like if they have any pride at all, they show up. And fun stat, Tommy DeVito had the highest quarterback rating in a game for somebody who was undrafted.
Let's go, Tommy DeVito.
Cool stat. Good for him.
Good stuff, man. That is awesome.
Yeah, that is. And he's fucking living at home with his parents, dude. So I'm sure there's a party at his mom's house. And I'm happy for the Giants.
So obviously the next one was Dallas and Carolina. This was a no-brainer for us, too. I mean, you pulled that clip from last week.
The Panthers are so bad. I won't try to talk you off the Cowboys because I think you're right. The Panthers are horrible.
Just as somebody with basic understanding of sports and how Dallas tends to beat up on really bad teams.
Yep.
This was one, the line could have went up to 20. I probably would have still took it. Just
yeah,
be honest with you.
The line should have been 20. That's what's so crazy, bro. These motherfuckers, your favorite to get against the Giants, 17.5. How are you only 11.5 or whatever it closed out against the Panthers? I don't get it, man. Like, I respect that you called it. I'll be honest, man. It was so low that it was spooking me. Like, that's just the truth, man. That line was so low that I was spooked by it. You weren't spooked. You used your football brain, which I like seeing people win bets that way. It's not all about trying to be a sharp guy or bet the weird lines. Like, use your football brain. Hey, I watched the games last week, bro. Panthers are terrible. Cowboys are good, and they beat the shit out of bad teams. So Will Levis is struggling with O-line. What about Derrick Henry, man? He had 12 carries for 19 yards, or I don't know. It was a bad stat line. He hasn't had a good game in a while. He's not having a great year. The offensive line's really bad now. Will Levis set the bar pretty high with that first game performance, and
Jeez,
so
yeah, he did.
it's been a pretty rough downward slope for him since then. He really didn't look good. Like, I'm going to respect the Jags defense. I think they played a great game. I think the DC for the Jags called a great game. Like,
Oh yeah.
and it's like we talk about with tape. Like, that guy had tape on Will Levis. You can tell. He knew
100%.
that motherfucker. He made Will Levis look confused.
We talk about Tennessee and Jacksonville overhit 39.5. Called that one too. I really liked it. I mean, it looked good, and like I said, the first half was a little iffy, but that's usually how overs and unders go.
Yeah.
You can't really tell off of one half, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. I've bet plenty of overs where more than a third of the points were scored in the first half, and the under still hits.
Still hits, yeah, for sure.
So it is what it is. We got Arizona and Houston. This was our showdown. I don't have a button for it. This is our showdown. Now, if we were going off the original line, 5.5, you would have won.
Yeah.
But I think when we talked about it, and when I bet it was 4.5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so we're not going to call this an official win because I don't think that we should teeter at 1 point.
So this is one of those ones where I actually am giving somebody gambling advice. If you like a line like I like the Cardinals at 4.5, and you know that everybody, like you even said it, you like Texans, you knew they were square, and you still like them at 4.5. You like that number, and you played it. For me, I know I'm on the opposite side of everyone, and so I'm totally cool. And I got lucky with this one because on Sunday when I put it in, I got 5.5.
Nice.
So I hit my bet. Great. It doesn't always work out that way. I'm just saying, if you like a team that's getting 20 to 30% of the handle, and they're at 4.5, and you're chatting about it with your boys on Saturday, put it in on Sunday, man. There's a very good chance that it's going to move to 5.5 with all that money steaming in on the Texans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
So I waited. I got lucky. Like I said, it doesn't always work out like that. You could wake up and the line could be at 3.5 for some reason.
Yeah.
You never know. But for this one, it worked out. I had Cardinals plus 5.5, so I felt very lucky.
Nice. Running back, Arizona, Houston, 4.5 was what the line closed at, or was it 5.5?
Closed at 5.5.
Okay, so it went down to 4.5, opened back up, and now it went to 5.5, and then it closed. So obviously, we're going to call that a tie for official showdown, but obviously,
Yeah, but if we want to be technical, you won. At the line, we discussed
Okay.
the game at you.
I am a winner. So,
Yeah.
so the next one,
Get fucked though. I don't know. I don't know if taking Zach Wilson out at this point is even a good idea to play old ass Tim Boyle.
Yeah.
Tim Boyle was bad, dude. He got in there. I mean, he looked worse than Zach Wilson. I didn't know that was possible, bro. He looked worse than Zach Wilson. He looked like Zach Wilson's dad.
Seattle, Los Angeles. Couldn't talk about your sweat.
This is my bet of the week, man. 2 units on the Rams. And I'll be honest, man. From the start of the game, I'm like, God, bro, the way the Seahawks came out and the Rams were so flat. Matt Stafford looked bad. And I'm like, God, this bet is cooked, bro. Like, Geno's doing enough. And then I want to say it was 13-0. Then the Rams made it 13-7. And is that right? That's right?
Yeah.
Rams made it 13-7. That's what happened exactly. And then Geno Smith gets hurt. And Drew Lock comes in, and that changes things. Drew Lock's competent, but it changes things for sure. And then the Seahawks go up 9. Then the Rams score another touchdown to go down 2, and I'm like, wow, bro, this is a sweat.
Yeah.
And then the Rams hit the go-ahead field goal, but they leave too much time on the clock, and Geno Smith goes back in the game. I'm like, oh my
Took
God.
that little wrap off his elbow, and so let's get
I'm
it.
like, bro, just leave Drew Lock in, please. So they put Geno Smith back in the game. He leads a field goal drive. He does.
he does.
He gets it within a 52-yarder in Seattle.
I think it's 54.
54, sorry.
Yeah.
Jason Myers is supposed to hit those. He hits those all the time.
Yeah,
in
he's
Seattle.
nasty. I thought for sure Seattle's winning this
And
game.
I was like, it's a wrap. But I'll be honest with you. Luck hasn't been on my side too much this year, so I'll take the luck. I feel like I'm kind of owed one. No disrespect to the gambling gods. But yeah, so my best bet cashed. Very happy about it.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I tailed that bet with you. I actually live bet it when they were down too. I got a plus 180
Ooh, love that.
for $1,000, so it was nice. It was
Love
very
that.
nice. Obviously, they do have some weapons over there, and I think that it was one of those games where I just really felt the over, and
Yeah.
after about the second quarter, I could tell that my bet was pretty much shot.
Yeah.
You
What was the number on the over-under?
50 or 43.5.
So isn't this I think it's important for like educating gamblers that we talk about it. Isn't it funny how you look at a game, right, and you say like I always say, use your football brain or use your gambling brain. I didn't bet this one, so I'm not saying it's a bad bet or anything like that. But like the Cowboys one, use your football brain, and then this one, use your football brain, where the gambling brain would have said like, damn, that's a little bit of a low total for 2 offenses that can move the ball and 2
Yeah.
defenses that suck. And so it's so hard, bro. Gambling is so hard in that way because you got to pick a side, and you're never going to hit 100% on either side. So it's like
1000%,
this,
for sure.
like my loss was the Dolphins. I don't know if you want to move into that game, but my loss was Dolphins minus 13.5 against the Raiders. And I used my football brain. I just said, like, Aiden O'Connell stinks. The Raiders aren't. I don't care that they beat the Jets and the Giants. Nobody cares about that. They're going to get pounded by the Dolphins. And they stayed in it the whole game. And, like, the gambler brain would have told you to take the Raiders. But I just used my football brain on that play. Gambling brain.
Love. What's love?
I mean, now he gets a week off from us saying the phrase. I say that's fair. He won the game. He didn't look amazing. But, yeah, I mean, we both use our gambling brains because – remember what we said? Like, Brick will have the Chargers on Sunday morning, dude. And I'm glad we used our gambling brand on this one because this was a really good one to do it. I just got to be honest. It was a little hairy for sure, but we knew it wasn't going to be easy. We knew the Packers weren't going to romp them. But, yeah, use your gambling brain. That line was short. Packers have been so bad, and Chargers have been good and bad. Not amazing, but so much more talented than the Packers.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is so much better than Jordan Love to be a 3-point favorite.
1,000%.
And then you toss in that maybe pretty boy California Justin Herbert will struggle in Green Bay, Wisconsin in fucking November, you know?
I mean, does it help? Keenan Allen was dropping some wide open passes, too. And he did get his touchdown, though, which is my anytime touchdown score. Yeah.
Quentin Johnston. You want to talk about somebody who just this guy, bro. I don't know what to say about this guy. He dropped a bomb at the end of the game. You see it?
Yeah, of course
that was crazy, bro.
It worked out good for us, though.
It worked out good. I'm not complaining, but whew. You know?
Yeah, of course, and it's funny you say that. Kind of going back to the viewers at home, it's very important to use the two different brains at two different times, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously, like you said, there's a lot of knowledge that you obtain by just knowing sports.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's a whole nother side of knowledge that you know by line movement and gambling procedures that you take, and you know those are two separate things. It is what it is. Yeah, man, the Raiders were definitely watching some film. For sure. They kept up with a lot of their key plays. Like obviously, you know that Tua and Tyreek Hill are going to go after each other. You know, they're the dynamic duo, so to speak. Even they try to get Jalen Waddle some targets too, man. And it looked like the Raiders were all over it.
Yeah, they were. Jalen Waddle's had a rough little stretch. I don't know what's going on with him, but Tyreek Hill looked great. He had a little hand injury. I don't know how serious that is. And then Jalen Ramsey looked amazing, bro. Like Jalen Ramsey looked amazing.
Dude. Shark.
Don't throw at 5. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't throw at 5.
A lot of people don't like Jalen Ramsey. I like Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, I like him too. But even if you don't like him, you gotta respect that he's just fucking baller, bro.
I mean, not only that, it's arguably the hardest job in the NFL,
it's
right?
the hardest. It's the hardest.
Yeah.
The hardest.
So I mean, like you're gonna hate on a guy that maybe gives up a few fucking yards.
Nah,
he
don't give up much. Yeah, you slipped up. You sound like me. Playing cornerback has got to be the hardest position in sports. Underthrown ball is it pass interference. I mean, it's got to be hard. Bro. It's got to be hard.
It's tough.
But yeah, I like 5.
I think going back to the cornerback thing, you can't slack off ever. I think a lot of positions, even if you're, this happens all the time. This happened when I used to play football. You know, O linemen, D linemen have little agreements here and there. Hey, man,
take this play off.
Tone it down a little bit, right? Because obviously everybody needs a little breather. Yeah. There's nothing like that for a cornerback. Because obviously,
they're gonna get burnt. You're burnt.
The receiver needs to get his targets, and a lot of people get bonuses and stuff like that. You're 100% from the time you step on that field, from the time you step off.
Yep.
Cool. Moving on to the game I really like. This is Adrian's gonna put on the screen. This is something that I was last minute with. Green Bay plus 3.5. Sent it to Hawk, sent it to Steak, and we all kind of agreed on it mutually. We put the bet in and it hit.
I mean, that's the difference in the scenario, but yeah, gamblers beware of the Chicago Bears moving forward would be my advice.
That's fair. I like that.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and explain to people what tanking is?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's losing on purpose, which I know a lot of people don't believe NFL teams do, and I actually don't really believe it either. Like, I don't believe a team goes out there with the plan to lose. Especially when you see the fact that the Bears built a 24-12 lead. Obviously, that's not a team trying to lose from the jump. But then when you get to the end of the game, like I said, 7:59 in the fourth, there is a different intensity level. There's a different intensity level for the Lions, who are 7-2. They're fighting for a first-round bye. They're having their best season in 30 years. And then the Chicago Bears, who just got Justin Fields back, are set up in a prime position to get the first and second pick in next year's draft and really have no shot at making the playoffs. Yeah. So tanking, you can make whatever you want of tanking. I'm not a full believer that people lose on purpose like that completely.
Of course.
But I believe that they turn their intensity level down a notch. And
sure.
Like I said, you don't have to believe me, bro. Go watch the last 7:59 of the game. It's not even arguable.
There's a whole nother world that we don't know about when it comes to that. And that's definitely obviously left to the game, the NFL, the players, the coaches.